Hello and welcome to Decorating Pages podcast. I am your host, Kim Wannop, and I got a good one for you. 15 movies every production design student should watch. I'm telling you, it's not like it's the things you should have watched and didn't, and the staples that everybody wants you to watch. It's the ones I've seen over the past years in my 20-year career that are gems and that kind of stick out to me of lessons. And I wish someone had given me this list years ago that I could have watched and picked up some really good tips. It's going to be a different episode. I'm not going to do what Wannop's watching. I'm just going to dive right into this. And I want to start by saying I came up with the idea for this episode because every show I'm kind of running into people who are new, and that's exciting. I love that new people are starting in this business, but then I start to talk about films and television that they've never heard of. And I'm not talking about like Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz, Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, Star Wars, Harry Potter, like those things you should have seen, right? I don't know what people, I sound old. I don't know what people are watching if they haven't seen the greats. Do you know what I mean? So I'm assuming film students, people who want to get in production design, young set decorators have seen those types of films. Brazil, But if you're looking to dive a little deeper, I'm just going to give you a little synopsis of 15 films I feel like you should see. Okay? I'm going to go quick. I'm going to pick a frame from each of the films and kind of analyze a little and tell you why I think it's a great character decorating film and it's emotional storytelling. And I also only did from the 1920s to 2000. I didn't go past 2000 because that seemed too easy for young people or people have it like that. I want you to, get gritty with it. And some of them are obvious and some of them are obscure. So let's just dive into it. Now, I'm going to start off, hear me out. I'm going to start out with a silent film because don't get scared. It's a silent film. It's Our Dancing Daughters, 1928. And it is production designed by the great Cedric Gibbons and the extraordinary set decorator Edwin B. Willis, who you should know. And if not, I have a class about the two of them. They were the backbone of MGM design. And Cedric Gibbons literally has thousands of credits to his name. So he's amazing. Now for this one, it's such a staple that people should watch because it's the first time Art Deco is seen on screen. And the frame that I chose from the film is of a bedroom. And there are these stacked panels in the back of her headboard. There's a daybed placed like a throne in the room. There are these Art Deco chairs, like barrel chairs. And although it's black and white, you can still see all the textures and you can see the reflections of the wallpaper on these stacked Art Deco geometric shape in the back of the room. There's such a contrast of finishes here, which you can play off. And one of the key things is that the room is kind of sparse. And that tells a lot about the character. There's not a lot of personality here. She's trying to show off. She's trying to be something that she's not, because this film follows wealthy young women in the Jazz Age area dealing with love, reputation, and judgment. So it is a really good film, but think about that. It's the first time Art Deco is really seen in people's houses on film, 1928. So if you like it, I'm going to suggest The Divorce, 1930, also Cedric Gibbons, and The Women, 1939, also Cedric Gibbons and Willis. So those three are a great little trifecta of silent era black and white film of production design and really great character influence back then to get the vernacular of those characters back then and see how real people lived. The women especially. It's very, very good. All right, let's go to number 2. Look at this. We're already on number 2. Great Expectations, 1947. Production designer is Wilfred Singleton and John Bryan, and directed by David Lean and decorated by Eric Blackmore. Now, there's a lot of versions of Great Expectations. I feel this is the best one I've seen. This black and white version is the only word you can use to describe this is haunting. It's based on the Charles Dickens novel about Pip, a poor orphan whose life changes after a frightening encounter with an escaped convict and a visit to the decaying home of Miss Havisham. Now, if you're studying production design, especially if you're younger, you're used to a very literal contemporary realism. And this film reminds you as a designer that it's not always about exact realism. Sometimes it's about emotional realism and the mood and the psychological space. And this film does this beautifully. So the scene that I captured here is Miss Havisham's world. It's the dining room. I mean, if you've seen this, you know. The dining room, that decayed, that bridal environment. She was supposed to get married. She's jilted, and the setting is still there after years and years and years. And you see the cobwebs, and the whole room is ready for a party that never happened. It's heartbreaking. The ruin has become her identity. And the space, the decoration, the design is conveying this. And that's really what I want new decorators to really understand. When a character cannot move on emotionally, the room often tells them before the script does about their emotion. So think about that sometimes when you're decorating a set or just a specific scene. The first thing in this thing is the long dining table. I mean, how great is that? Still fully set as if the meal is about to begin. And I mean, I don't know. It's so sad to me. It's just so sad. It's devastating. The plates, the serving pieces, the linens, the glassware, they're all still there. It's so sad. The chairs standing there that have these great cut out, they're wood, and so they stand there as like witnesses to her pain, and the drapery still hanging there all heavy and exhausted. It looks like it's about to collapse from all the dust. The chandelier also have these huge cobwebs, and then of course the fireplace flickering, giving it this light and emotion in the room. It's a lot of times you're going to see really great scenes are lit perfectly. This is one of them, to capture all of these tones in everything that's going on in this room. It's a very emotional set dressing through neglect. So it's a great example of how to decorate emotion and capture something. Other films that also can be watched to get these emotions is Rebecca, 1940, and Jane Eyre, 1943. So yeah, I love that version. I just think the Great Expectations of 1947, it's a must watch. Please watch it. It's so good. Now let's move on. Number 3 is Daddy Longlegs. Now, I never knew this movie existed. I had put together a production design film study with my friends, and we watched films that had been nominated at a specific years for Academy Awards and then judged them. And I had never heard of this movie, and it's 1955, I believe. Production design, Lyle Wheeler, John DeCure, set decorator, Walter M. Scott, and Paul S. Fox, directed by Gene Negluscio. This is a great one to study because it gives you a controlled elegance and fantasy through decor without losing the warmth. Now, it's a weird story. It's kind of a weird story. Fred Astaire, older dude, is a wealthy American businessman in France who secretly sponsors and educates a young orphan girl. And as she grows up and heads into college, he keeps her identity hidden while falling for her. Now, it's weird. Her story of being in this orphanage, which is the orphanage has this huge tree in the middle of this back courtyard. It's a great set. Then she goes to college and the dorm rooms are these pristine white like she's never seen. And then she goes to, I think it's New York he's in. And he's got this great mid-century modern office. And then there's these dance fantasy sequences. And it's performative design. It's controlled, it's graphic, it's playful. And it's completely aware of the frame that the dancers have to use and that the colors are saturating these sets and letting the dancers be the focus. This color blocking of orange and pinks. So I chose a frame of a dance sequence, and then I put another frame in the bottom because I couldn't pick just one from this film because just to see the contrast of colors that they're using in this film. The contrast one is these blues and greens and this fake drapery that's kind of drawn. It's an amazing set to be seen. I love how artificial the set is. And I mean that as a compliment. The frame it's a perfect example of performance design. It's a big color field, minimal scenic elements, and just enough dressing to suggest a world without pinning it down literally. Like the windows like drawn behind them. And there's a couple chairs and tables for other people, dancers to be around. It's very American in Paris, which is what I would say is a great compliment to this. And not every great set has to feel lived in. I mean, some of them are just playful and aware of being accessible to what the action is in the room. Another great film that shows a lot of this is called Star from 1968. It stars Julie Andrews. I had never heard of it either till I did this study that I gave myself homework. And what was it? It's like 158 sets are in that movie alone. And it takes her from vaudeville to, being a big star. And the set dressing and everything just evolves with her career. It's a really great film. I had it in here. I took it out. So, but it is because I had too many musicals. I figured like, oh no, I have too many musicals. People are going to be like, you're nuts. But yeah. So Daddy Longlegs. The story's a little iffy right now, but the sets are fantastic, I have to say. All right, let's move on to number 4. Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf? It's a staple. Everyone should have seen this movie, right? 1966, directed by Mike Nichols. Production design by Richard Silbert, one of my all-time favorite production designers. Set decoration by George James Hopkins. I mean, this is essential viewing, absolutely essential, because if you want to learn how to fill a room and make it feel like a couple who is fighting, a couple who has been married for a long time, this is it. This film follows one very long, very uncomfortable night with a married couple, George and Martha, who invite a younger couple over, and they're teachers and faculty, and it's just, they discuss their loss, they discuss their love. It's an extraordinary film. This film is one of the best classes you can take in domestic psychological dressing. And yes, this is exactly the kind of set that decorators should study because it looks casual at first, but it's doing a ton of character work. I chose a scene where George is sitting in a chair, the couple is on the sofa, and his desk area is in the background. And this room feels truly lived in, not styled. It tells you these people are before the scene even begins. The back wall is packed with books, arts, paper, objects, and it gives the room this smart, layered, slightly neglected feeling. But it's academic. It's not precious or pompous. But that's the lesson here. It doesn't have to have order to look intelligent. The desk area gives the room a working pulse. Papers are out, books are stacked, lamps are practical, and it all suggests a home where work, conversation, drinking, fighting happens. Nothing is luxurious, it's modest, it's worn in and real. The books, I think, are the key detail. They're not just background, they're identity. That's who he is. He reads. He's a professor. Same with the art. I love the art. It's all varied on the wall. It's a collection over time. It's not overly curated on the wall. It just looks like they've collected art over the wall over the years and have put that in. I think it's a great detail for showing people who have lived in a house for a long time. Sometimes, you had the one picture there and then you found this other one years later. Well, I'm going to put that one up too. It happens. So this is character decorating at its best. The room tells you these are smart people, complicated people, and really not peaceful people. Another movie to suggest like this, I would say Streetcar Named Desire. And both of these are plays. So I think a lot when they were designed probably took in that everything has to happen pretty much in this room, or like they only move to 2 other rooms and then they go in the car and they go one other place, I think. But really the tree, the shot of Elizabeth Taylor through the screen door is one of the best on film. So if you haven't seen that, please take a look. All right, enough. I'm in love with that movie. Let's move on. Let's move on to Barry Lyndon. Barry Lyndon. All right. Production designer Ken Adams, Roy Walker, set decorator Vernon Dixon, and directed by Stanley Kubrick. I mean, it's awesome. It's completely awesome. It's a boring movie, I'd have to say. I've seen it probably three times. 1975. I read a whole book about Stanley Kubrick, how he made this film, and I don't love it, but I love that I've seen it, and I love that I can reference it. I would say that. It's one everyone in design school should watch, and then watch again 10 years later, and maybe another 10 years later, and I bet you'll get more out of it every time you watch it. It follows Barry Lyndon as he climbs through 18th century social chasing status and wealth, and the rooms tell that story beautifully. They're elegant, composed, and still emotionally cold. Everyone talks about the lighting in this film. And yes, of course, the natural light and the candle lights are extraordinary. They used special cameras from NASA to be able to get this dark in rooms and still be able to shoot. This movie is teaching you about restraint, about certain placement and period. Look at these rooms. I mean, the frame that I pulled is about symmetry and the mirrors and the candlelight and the overall space. There's a lot of open floor plan there. Every shot is like a painting to Kubrick. And sometimes when you decorate, it doesn't make sense that this sofa's over here and this, but go look in the camera, go look, on the playback, go see what they're doing. And if they want it symmetrical and you have to make adjustments for that, sometimes it's kind of heartbreaking, but it's also lending to the beauty sometimes of the overall. And, I'm sure you would get on the same page if you're a part of this film, but symmetry is huge sometimes, or, the triangle or whatever the director's into. You got to be able to enhance that with your dressing also. The candlelight in the mirror is amazing. The floors have like a high polish on them, so it reflects the candlelight. I'm sure that's on purpose. And there's a lot of emptiness in the rooms back then. Sometimes the rooms were so big there wasn't enough furniture to put in them. And I love that this film carries with that. So you go to Versailles, some rooms are packed. Some rooms have like one sofa and two chairs. It's like these gorgeous ornate rooms, but didn't have a lot of furniture in them sometimes. So there's always that. I mean, that's all research in your period and what you're trying to accomplish and everything. So, get through that. I would say the restraint, when you have this much luxury, that would be the takeaway from this, is to be restrained. Sometimes pull back a little. Don't be so gaudy. Don't try to get it all in every frame. Let it come naturally throughout the story. It's such an important lesson for decorators, especially in period work. You do not need to throw everything from the warehouse, the antique warehouse, at one room. Sometimes the most powerful choice is fewer, better, and exact pieces. And that invokes the realism, and everything else is distraction. So careful when you do that. 2 films that I would suggest: Dangerous Liaisons, 1988, and The Age of Innocence, 1993. They both are, in this period, and just gorgeous, gorgeous films. So yeah, let's go to Rocky. Yes, I know, Rocky, 1976. I'm telling you, this is one to study. I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you why. Director is John G. Avildsen, and production designer James Spencer, set decorator Charles Ronson. Now, this follows Rocky Balboa, a small-time Philadelphia boxer and a debt collector who gets an unexpected shot at the heavyweight title against Apollo Creed. And it's a story about dignity and routine and struggle and somebody trying to prove themselves. And that has to come out in the dressing. Why a young production designer student should watch it is because it is gritty 70s filmmaking, like, Mean Streets and Dog Day Afternoon and all that. It's working class interiors. It shows Philadelphia, this city with such character, and the spaces feel worn and realistic. And it was. I mean, they kind of went through the streets and filmed Philly. So it's a great study in the vernacular of a time and a city. That's what I love Philly. I'm sorry. I thought about this a while ago and I was like, Rocky's a really good Philly study for that time. It's a great reminder that production design does not have to be showy to be effective. The world feels believable and tired and lived in, and that's exactly what Rocky does. So this image that I picked is of his apartment, and it's rough and it's cramped and it's completely real looking. It's dingy. It's all patched together. He's got the mattresses surrounded by ropes so he can punch them. He's got his little turtles there. Things are falling down on the shelves that are barely, full. Mix-match pieces of furniture. Nothing is polished. Then, I feel like there was a choice for this overhanging red light over his dining table. He probably found it and put it up, and he thought it was cool. He probably thinks it costs a lot, so that's why he put it there. It has personality, and it's not empty, but there's not a lot going on there, but it shows his personality, and just a great character piece. Just a great character piece to study. So Rocky. And like I said, Mean Streets and Dog Day Afternoon. Mean Streets 1973, Dog Day Afternoon 1975. All films 1970s to me are fantastic. I love The Conversation. That's one of my favorites. The Godfather. You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong in the 70s. Like Chinatown. I can go on and on. In fact, I will with our next one, which is All the President's Men. I love this movie. I love the acting in this movie. I love the quietness in this movie, that your brain is thinking, what is going on? What are these people doing? What are they hiding? I can't figure it out. I mean, if you know Watergate and you know the scandal, then you know. But if you are with this film and following it, it's a great suspenseful film. All the President's Men's production designer George Jenkins, set decorator George Gaines, directed by Alan J. Pakula. It's huge. This film is huge because this is one of the great lessons of procedural realism in decorating. It's not gradual. It's not glamorous. It's not cool. It's working realism, and those are one of the most sets you're going to have to do. Do you know how many offices I've done? In police stations and hospitals, procedural is going to be a part of your life. And how do you make the first office you're going to decorate as good as the last office you're going to decorate? It's character. It's all character. So I did pick two shots for this film. But one's the big bullpen of the Washington Post, and the other is a close-up. So if you don't know, this story follows Woodward and Bernstein investigating Watergate. And the newsroom that they're in, this set that I chose, becomes part of the story. The desks, the paperwork, the fluorescent office lighting, the repetition of it all. It's a great set because look at the density of this office environment. Look at how it's institutional, but yet there's still a lot of character. That's a great balance. And for young decorators listening, this is why you should never dismiss boring spaces. You can make it feel interesting. Boring can be interesting. And that's where storytelling happens. So this scene in particular, what I like here is that the office feels huge, but very personal at the same time. There's endless rows of desks, paper, phones. I miss phones. Files. These little details that show how tired people are when they're working. This is not decorative clutter. It's working clutter. The first thing that jumps out to me is, of course, is that ceiling grid. The fluorescent panels stretched on forever and ever. And that's real. That's not CGI. Creating this relentless visual rhythm, and that's part of the design. But as a decorator, I love it because the ceiling itself becomes part of the storytelling. It just goes on and on and on. You're never going to catch it. You're never going to, Then you get into the dark landscape, and that's where the real richness is. The rows and rows of workstations, the low partitions, telephones, desk accessories. It's coffee cups, reference materials. It's all creating believable environment for this. Then on a closer look, which I have on the insert, I love how personal it can get. And people dress their spaces. People will put up a piece of art. A piece of art is pinned to the column. And it's just enough human imprint to remind you that people personalize their spaces, no matter how boring or, how busy they are. Even if it's their personalized coffee cup or their pen cup, something is going to be personalized at an office space. Nobody owns the space, but everyone is leaving a mark on it. So clutter tells a story. That would be a real thing here. And procedural office dressing, I just think this is one of the greatest examples of it. And there's the Post 2017, there is Spotlight 2015, and the Parallax View, I would say, is more stylized, but a great companion to this for institutional spaces, corporate unease. And if you haven't seen Parallax View, I lightened it. It's a very dark film. It's Warren Beatty. It's very good. It's very good. But Parallax View, 1974. Check that out too. All right, I'm gonna go back and make a little fun for number 8. Oh, there's Rocky. The Wiz. The Wiz. Yes. So I chose this specifically because of a production designer who gave me an assignment when I was very new to this world. She said, get a script that you haven't seen, that hasn't been made yet, and try to design the sets. Or take a film that you love and redesign it. And for me, The Wiz is a perfect example of redesign and rethinking a film. And obviously, The Wiz is set through, urban Black cultural lens. And it's not just the Wizard of Oz done again. It's filtered through this musical of a different culture. And it's great. It's a great way to rethink things. 1978, production designed by Tony Walton and Philip Rosenberg, and set decorated by Edward Stewart and Robert Drumheller, directed by Sidney Lumet. And I love this one for students because it shows how powerful a reimagining can be. So it's not just let's remake this. It's a completely retelling of a story, and it takes the familiar narrative and filters it through a totally different culture. It's bold, it's graphic, it's energetic, it has scale, and it's theatrical, and it's just an invention. It's great. It scared the hell out of me when I was little and saw it, but if you're somebody who tends to play it safe, this is a good movie to try to shake you up, I think, because it really goes out of that comfort zone of the original Wizard of Oz. So the scene that I grabbed is when Dorothy goes in to meet the Scarecrow, and she's on the yellow brick road, and there is just clutter, like ruin and debris all around her. And then there's these sunflowers that are, bringing out these gold colors around all this wreckage. The set is essentially a destroyed space, stripped walls, exposed brick, broken, heaping piles of debris and dirt and everything. And I think it's so crazy how you can invoke a different emotion from these sets and these songs. And it's amazing soundtrack too, and it's Michael Jackson, it's Diana Ross. I mean, it just becomes transformative and it's always made me think, how else could this be done? And that's why I think this set is so smart. It doesn't present the fantasy or clean it up and polish it. None of these sets are. Like when, she's down in the subway, it's terrifying. These like trash cans come to life, or the Wicked Witch is like sitting on top of like a trash heap in a trash compactor or something. It's crazy. It's a crazy film. So I love it for, those sunflowers. They're just this miracle little detail in there. They're wild and bright and organic. And it's almost impossible that they would be in that space, but yet they're growing. There's something alive in this space and giving her hope, and that's she meets the Scarecrow. So the palette is great when they get to the Emerald City, and it changes from green to red, and it's wonderful. If you haven't seen The Wiz, please check it out. Again, I think it's a little scary, but I love it. Other films that I think are a little scary is Time Bandits, which I think is like 1980 or 82. That scared me a lot, but there's a lot of imagery in that one. And The Adventures of Baron Munchausen from 1988. It's not urban, but it's a fantastically imagined theatrical world. And yeah. And I think, I think they both relate to The Wiz. So yeah. All right, let's get into some war movies, because I know that's what you were hoping for. So I'm not going to go for the obvious, but I'm going to go for Empire of the Sun. Number 9 is Empire of the Sun for me. Production designer Norman Reynolds and set decorator Harry Cordwell directed by Steven Spielberg in 1987. And this one is a study of displacement and the loss of normalcy in someone's world and the transition of normalcy to like craziness, wreckage, sadness, I guess. Set during World War II, if you don't know this. I love this film. I've been in love with Christian Bale since 1987. And John Malkovich is perfect in this. It follows a young British boy named Jim who is separated from his parents in Shanghai after the Japanese invasion. Forced to survive in a prison camp, he loses the comforts of his childhood and begins to understand war and survival and class. And that's important because good production design is not just about one good set. It's about the visual arc. We all know this. We have to follow the arc of the film. So how does this world feel in the beginning? How does it feel once innocence is lost? It's so sad. And how do objects change meaning under this pressure and turn into survival? And that's what we're tracking here when you watch this. This movie it's just great to study the contrast between the privilege and the collapse. And for decorators, that's a big lesson because the decor can take on such different meaning with the story shifts. So in this image, it's his parents are gone. He lived in a house alone for a while. He got picked up by the police and he gets taken to this camp. And John Malkovich is an asshole and kind of takes him under his wing, like, the kid can help me get this and he can make deals for me. And, so that people start bartering things because they could only take what they could hold. So this setup is, they're at a bed and the window, I believe, is part of like an airplane or something. It's a large circular window, beautifully bringing in light. And they're sitting in the bed and you can see in the open shelving pieces that people have brought with them. And so the bed that they're sitting on is great narratively because it's their sofa, it's their workspace, they're playing cards on it, it's their sleeping, it's their storage zone. So it's the center of their lives is they get a bed. And then the open shelving that they have stacked with boxes in the background, which I think is, a terrific detail because they're showing you could really have only taken what you could have held. It's like when you do space and you're like, what would the astronaut bring with them? Well, they only have a pack this big. They can only bring that. There's a beautiful folding screen to the right with floral decorative motif. And I know this is enhanced, but it's such a sad thing of what people hold on to that they think is important when you have to leave your house in 5 minutes. That round window is just fantastic in the composition of the scenes, and the palette is wonderful. Everything's dusty and it's neutral, and there's faded fabrics. They've been wearing this clothes a long time, and what did these people take with them? What did they repurpose? What would they still carry around as part of memories, and how do they protect their pieces? These are things you're going to ask yourself if you were decorating these sets. And that's where the truth of this dressing lies. So hardship still needs character, and survival spaces, are not just dirt piles. They should still tell us what people kept, what they valued, and how they are trying to hold on to themselves and their identity. I just love that film. And another film, I would say Hope and Glory, came out the same year in 1987. Beautiful companion to this. And 2023, All Quiet on the Western Front. And even then in that film, there's an underground bunker of like all of this extra food and everything that soldiers have kept and taken from other places. You're showing what people start to really prioritize in their lives when you do war. I think I haven't done war, so I can only go off of the many films I've seen doing war. So yeah, Empire of the Sun, check that one out. That's a good one. All right, number 10. Throw it away, done. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yep. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It should be a staple, right? Everyone should have seen it. Production designer Elliot Scott and set decorator Peter Howitt. It's Robert Zemeckis. It's 1988, and I love this film. This is one of the films that made me want to work in Hollywood. Absolutely. Set in the 1940s Hollywood, where humans and cartoon characters coexist, this film follows private detective Eddie Valiant as he gets pulled into a murder mystery involving a frantic and innocent Roger Rabbit. It's fantastic. This film is fantastic. The live action environments have to be believable enough to ground this movie, but be heightened enough to coexist with all of the cartoons. It's a wonderful balance to examine. So in the scene that I have picked, Roger Rabbit is at R.K. Maroon's desk, and he's showing him the pictures of patty cake of Jessica Rabbit. It's a great scene. I love the Art Deco of this office. I love that it's controlled and powerful, and this desk is, rounded and has the, all the dressing of the phone and the paperwork and the inbox, and the nameplate of R.K. Maroon is a great, anchor on the desk, the light and everything. And, the characters are in the background speaking, and it's great because you have the 1940s in here. You have to, as a decorator, work with the live action of the scene of what's going to move, what's going to break. He runs through that window back there with the outline of his body in the blinds. We got to figure that out. And what kind of blinds are they? And obviously they couldn't have been metal, so then they were wood. Like, I'm sure these were all discussions that went down. Does he spill the ink? Does it go all over the table? Does it mess up the papers? And I mean, it's a lot. It's that this movie, when they do, the sink tricks and, or he's spinning around in chairs, all of this decorating lends to the believability of the cartoons in this world. And that's a huge job as a decorator to have gotten this done. So I really have to applaud Peter Howitt for the job that he did on this. I think it's tremendous, and it's so inspiring to me. So yeah, Roger Rabbit. That's a good one to watch. That's an easy one to watch. It's just important that how many times your dressing will be integrated, whether it's live action or it's with stunts or it's with wardrobe. It's like, look at the Mandalorian and how the evolution of this, like, might not be live action, might not be like this, but things like that where it's the set dressing enhanced, into the void and into, the digital world, the visual effects. You have to think of all that now, and we have to prepare for that, and the green screens and the set extensions and the seamless integrations are key, and that's part of our job. It's awesome. There's not a lot that could link with Roger Rabbit, to be very honest. Heightened production design, I was thinking of 1940s, the Hudsucker Proxy. And I think too, you want to go back a little bit to one of the originals of Star Wars, even, of it integrating, the droids, and I mean, they did a lot of that practically, but still, I don't know. Star Wars comes to mind right now. I don't know why. It actually could link to number 11, kind of, not really. But number 11 is one of my all-time favorite films, and I am really bummed when I hear that not as many people have seen it. So, Dick Tracy, production designer again, Richard Silver, my favorite, set decorator Rick Simpson, 1990, directed by Warren Beatty, based on the comic strip Dick Tracy. It follows the square-jawed detective from the comic books, and it's highly stylized, and it's gangsters, and it's a true classic crime tale. and it's exaggerated in color and danger and graphics. It's an amazing film to watch. They stuck with, trying to keep to the colors of the comic book, the red, green, purple, blue, yellow. Like that was it. That's what they had. And I just read Richard Silbert's somewhat autobiography, designing films. Oh God, is that the designing movies? I forget the name of it. But I wanted to study him because of Dick Tracy, and finding out that he really fought to not do these primary colors in the beginning and really kind of fought it. And they went into production with sets that were not painted this graphically at first. And then the DP and Warren and the producers had to come to him and say, like, it's not working. We really want to follow this aesthetic. We have to change it. And then he just really went for it and really did it. And they won the Oscar. It's Best Production Design for 1990. So it absolutely influenced me. I can't imagine seeing this film and it not, giving you some inspiration as a decorator or a designer. If you have seen it, go back and watch it, because the graphics and everything. It's also, I think, one of the last times that matte drawings were done as scenery. It's like just before, digital came in there and took over, or they just held tight to it in this, which makes sense for the film and the look for the comic strip and everything. The hardest thing I think here is that they just committed to it, and to commit to a visual language and carry it across the entire film. It's a great lesson. It's just a great lesson. And the set dressing supports the boldness at every single turn. And so the scene that I took was of the long conference room, and all of the gangsters are sitting there. It's a big, long, red, glossy table. It's the star of this scene. It's huge. It's almost absurdly, this is absurd, dominant in the space. It's way too wide, which is great. And it's just red. The whole room is red. So that the gangsters sitting there in their green and their blue and their black stand out, or they're kind of like absorbed into this red. It's amazing. This film is amazing. I don't know. I just love it. I love the stylization of everything. I was almost going to pick a scene of him at his desk, but it's really, when they shoot him, it's really just him in yellow and you see the desk. It's the overall of this film. It was hard to pick a good, screen for this, because everything has to play off of each other in it also, because the wardrobe and the set and the lighting all has to work together, because it's so bold that I thought, oh, it's iconic, him sitting at his desk, and I can talk about the dressing, and then there's hardly anything on his desk. There's just a phone, and there's a paperwork, and I don't even know if there's an inbox. And I think the light, I forget if there's light. It's like so minimal, but it works. It's just great. Just great. So when you have this type of stylization in a film and you're designing and decorating it, you need the discipline to be able to stick with it and not, it's kind of like period. You have to be able to not overdo it. So the graphic set dressing used as language throughout this film is really why I think it's a lesson. And Batman, 1989, Batman Returns, 1993. I think those films really also commit. I love Batman Returns. That's probably one of my favorites also made me want to, get into this. It's the fantasy world of this, and creating these worlds is just, it's one of the best parts of this job. It's amazing. So yeah. So let's get away from the fantasy aspect and get back into some realism dressing. And I picked 1994 Pulp Fiction, because Pulp Fiction, you may not think is a great design film, but it is. It in the 90s and the independent films and the realism that came out of those films is a real lesson. So 1994, directed by Quentin Tarantino, production designed by David Wasco, decorated by Sandy Reynolds Wasco. You, please, God, tell me you've seen Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction follows several intertwined stories in Los Angeles involving a hitman, a boxer, a gangster's wife, a pair of small-time robbers. It's got everything. Blood, guts, sex, the gimp. I mean, it's great. A young film production design student should watch Pulp Fiction because it's a great lesson in how design can feel specific and cool and character-driven without over-designing. And it captures real 1990s LA, I believe. Gritty, worn in, slightly cheap. But it all has personality. And think about it. You go from like Mina's house or poolside, you have, high end. You go to working spaces like the diner, that's down and dirty. Flashback. You have a flashback from the 50s with Christopher Walken in it. That's a great scene to watch. And then you have, Hollywood apartments with basically nothing in them, but dressed somehow. Car interiors. You have, Quentin Tarantino's house, so you get some Valley vernacular in there. It's there's a lot of different looks. The drug dealer's house, which is what I chose because in thinking of it, I was like, this really shows a lot of LA houses. It's a Craftsman. It just made me feel like, wow, they really nailed it. And I don't know if I would have known that if I didn't live here, but they really nailed it. It's like little low end. They're probably in Los Feliz or something. I don't even remember, but it's open kitchen background. It's got that little crystal chandelier in the back, and the house is a mess. They're eating cereal. I mean, it's a great contrast to the rest of the film, but it's realism. They made this drug dealer's house look good in a sense. So, and she comes out from that bedroom that's a mess. I don't know. There's something about Pulp Fiction about the design doesn't oversell the moments. It just fits right in. And that's a compliment, I think. That's a great lesson right there. So, another film too that does this perfectly, but is period, is Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights 1997. I mean, that is a capture through the 70s, 80s, and early 90s also. I mean, that's a great one too. That could have been on this list. So yeah, Pulp Fiction. All right, we're already at number 13. Here we go. Romeo and Juliet. Now, production designer Catherine Martin and set decorator Bridget Brosh is in decorated Romeo and Juliet for 1996 Baz Luhrmann, and this is a must. It's a total must. And I know that the other two films I'm going to say are Moulin Rouge, obviously, but that was 2001, so I didn't go past 2000, and Marie Antoinette, I would think, combines both of period and this maximalism. Romeo and Juliet just set me on a trailblaze to Hollywood ASAP. It was like another reimagining, and it was so cool. And that soundtrack I listened to a million times over. It's fantastic for students because it shows you how to build this hyper stylization that feels just emotionally driven with this. And the design is really loud and it's really crowded. It's not empty. And there's so much symbolism in all of these rooms. Her bedroom, even when they're outside at the gunfight. And it's a good lesson for symbolic dressing, I think. There's religious objects. There's the color, the textures, the kitsch, the opulence, And it's also, it understands youth. And that's the best thing about this film. In the revisiting of Shakespeare, it truly understands the youth's pain and their emotion and the impulsiveness. And that comes through in the decor and the design. A world built around characters should not feel like it was decorated by someone who forgot to feel what it was like. I constantly think to myself, what did my 15-year-old bedroom look like? Because basically, it's kind of the same as a 15-year-old now. You just have to think of how to update it in a technical way. But girls still have pictures everywhere, or girls still have this or that, or like, you have to draw from what you know a lot in this line of work, in this business. It's also a great reminder, this film is not to be afraid of the intensity. Sometimes the right choice is more color, more symbol, more emotion. So the frame that I chose for this is when Juliet is up on the altar, and it's a ceremonial piece. And I mean, the candles, there's so many candles. It's crazy. The florals really hit between that line of, am I at a wedding or am I at a funeral? Like, they hit that perfectly. And for someone like myself who loves florals, I love to use real florals, I love the production value of it, this hits me like hard, of like, nailed it. Religious paintings and the iconography in the background. I love the symmetry that it gives on the altar, this warm amber palette of the glow of all the lights, and the bed up on the dais. That's a key decorator move up there, that she's like up on that altar. And it's very intimate and private, but yet you're in this church. It's a powerful set. So where you place an object can completely transform what it means. So yeah, it's a great study. And the fish tank and the party is fantastic. And yeah, it's a great rewatch. Go back and rewatch that one. So yeah, as I said, Moulin Rouge and Marie Antoinette 2026 also, to me, would be a great triptych here. Number 14, we're almost done. Can you believe it? Number 14 is Gattaca. So I recently watched this and thought, man, I'm glad I rewatched this. I forgot how good this movie looked. Production designer Jan Rolfs and set decorator Nancy Nye. Bravo. It's directed by Andrew Nicole. It is set in a future where genetics determine your place in society, and Vincent has to fake his identity to chase his dream to space travel. It's one of the best examples of how production design can make a world feel elegant, intelligent, and terrifying without ever becoming like loud. Like, it's very subtle. These designs are very subtle when you look at these buildings and the design of this. There's minimalism, but it's pressure. There's a lot of pressure to be perfect in this film. So to me, the image that I chose was of the workstations again. Think of the difference between this and like All the President's Men. All of these repetitive workstations, the repetitive lights in the ceiling. It's a discipline in this environment. Every desk has the same thing, or doesn't. They don't have anything. It's dressed for the system. It's dressed to comply. And the control. So the biggest visual move here is the field of identical curved workstations that go throughout the space and just like look like they're going to go into forever. It's great for furniture layout to look at. The palette is great, these grays, but yet it's warm. Like, look at the warm lighting up there. But it's also cold. Everything's cold in there. It's so sterile. The lighting just does a lot of work here. And I don't know. In rewatching it, I was like, I don't think this film gets enough credit. And Jude Law's fantastic. He's great. He's great in everything, though. He'll be great in number 15, too. So, yes. I don't know. I just think Gattaca... Now, they used a real location. It was in Northern California. This, I think it might have been a Frank Lloyd Wright building, I believe, as the hallway and the big elevator that goes up. But like his apartment is so stylized and empty. His apartment's kind of empty without all of these medical things. They've got like one chair and like he's got one bed. And even when he's recovering from his leg operation, like he's lying on the floor. There's nothing in the room. It's crazy. So, and they go to this nightclub that all of a sudden you get such like, oh, there's fabric. Like there's joy in these people's lives. It's like, oh, they get some happiness. That's nice. So it's a good watch. Go watch it. Now, what I would pair with this is, I think it's 1928, I think, Metropolis. Go back and watch Metropolis. That is a staple. I hope everyone has seen that one too. And one, I know some people love it, and some people never heard of it, Joe versus the Volcano with Tom Hanks. I'm telling you, the repetitive officeness, now that is a completely different feeling of like not minimalism, but like sad work environment. It's a good one. It kind of fits with what's going on a little bit. So yeah. All right, let's get to number 15. I know you're dying here. I know you're dying to know. I mean, I was. Talented Mr. Ripley. Now, hear me out. Production designer Roy Walker and set decorator Bruno Cerci. Directed by Anthony Minghella in 1999. So it took it all the way down to 1999. It's set in 1950s Italy. And it follows Tom Ripley, a young man of modest means who is sent to convince wealthy playboy Dickie Greenleaf to come home from Europe. And once Tom gets close to Dickie's glamorous life, he can't let go. I love this film. I love this film. If this film is on, I have to watch it. It is a beautiful period film. It's a film where you want to step into this time period. You want to live with these people. You want to go to Italy. It's better than Roman Holiday to me. It's such a sense of longing. He longs for this life. He wants this glorious life. He came from nothing. He lied and said he was something when he's not. He has no privilege, and they do. And Gwyneth Paltrow, and I don't really like Gwyneth Paltrow, but I think she's fantastic in this. She goes into an ugly cry really well. But again, Jude Law's fantastic. I love me some Matt Damon. And Philip Seymour Hoffman is fantastic. Okay, enough about the acting because I could go on. But think about it as you have period design and you have to make it so that someone wants it. He's constantly wanting this person's life so much that he kills them. So it's romanticized. You have to step into that romance of the dressing. And it's not hard for Italy 1950s, to look great. So it's a gorgeous study in the specifics of a period, and then building a life. Like when you go to Tom, I didn't pick it, but like when Tom gets his own apartment, first it's so opulent and it's so over the top, and he's got the statue that he kills Freddy with, and it's great. Versus his second apartment, which is more restrained and it's like kind of falling apart, but it's still super cool. It's crazy. But the frame that I chose for this, which I actually had a hard time finding a frame for this because a lot of it is location or it's tight. It's actually very tight, and that goes to the filmmaking of it because you're constantly in his mind. But when Tom is at Dickie's house and Gwyneth comes in and it's like, oh, you want a martini or whatever. And they're writing the letter to Dickie's dad. That's the scene. So it's this stark white room and all of the, like, this classic elegance just steps out to me. It's not flashy. There's nothing over decorated here. It feels airy and comfortable, and we just have money and we have ice. Like, and not everybody has ice here. It's a very mix of furnishings, but you get to see period pieces like the typewriter and that, you know, a nice little like coffee setup. And I love the art choices. They're very regional, and I don't know, it culturally stands out to me, this room. There's a little bit of florals and greenery. And I just think overall the film is such a study of period and longing of when Tom is at Dickie's house, in this house, and he thinks that Dickie's not there, and he's like, he's dancing around in Dickie's clothes. And there's this great mirror that you see the reflection of Dickie watching Tom. That's set dressing. That's purposeful set dressing in that mirror, and he can hide behind it, but you see the reflection of Dickie. It's such a forecasting of what's coming. It's just great. It's just a psychological great dressing, I think. So yes, so I think not that Roman Holiday's psychological, but it's a great period study for that. So that's it. Those are 15 films I think that a decorator or a film student or anyone who's looking for a little deeper dive should get into. There's hundreds of films I could add. I've said it before. I have been going through the list of nominated films since the Academy Awards started, and I've worked my way, not chronologically, but I keep, adding to films on that list, and I love it. And I think to myself, oh, this one's probably not going to be too good. And then I'm like, what is this one? How did Bette Davis make another great movie? Like, that's what I keep thinking. Like, what is this? But I wanted to give you a list with some range and a little history, a little intensity, some musicals, and not just taking it for what it is, but really looking at it as a decorator. Don't just watch a movie, pause it. Look at that wallpaper. Look at what's on that tray. Look at the corners and the tabletops and what's on the shelves. Like, that's how you're going to learn. And sometimes I pause films and I'm like, that's a bunch of shit over there, but it looks right. And I think, like, when I'm decorating something, everything has to have a meaning, everything. And I'm like, sometimes I pause a movie, I'm like, that looks perfect, but it has no meaning. There's no meaning to that, but it's curated in such a way, it looks perfect. So, these are tricks too that you would learn. You don't want to ask all the time, is it pretty? Is it right? Ask, what does this room say about the person? What is this set is practical in psychology? Like, what's the social tension here? What is the decoration telling me? What is the design controlling in this character's life? What does the dialogue say? Am I interacting with special effects? I mean, these are all questions you're constantly asking yourself. When you're young, you notice style. When you've worked a little bit longer, you notice control. And when you've had some heartbreak in your life, maybe you notice characters in a deeper way. Your life experience will help you decorate. And, experience. Doing it, repetitiveness, putting in your hours. Yeah. So that's it. That's the episode today. I would genuinely love to know what other movies you think should be on this list. What is one or two films that have taught you about decor and what you really focus on in character and storytelling? What details have stayed with you in a movie you've long forgotten, but you remember that one detail? Send me a message, leave a comment, tag me on Instagram. I want to hear, because I get excited about anybody focusing in on set decorating. If you love this, I am going to do a deeper dive of 5 or 3, I forget what I did. Deeper dive of decorator films that really teach the decorator eye I don't know how to explain it, but it comes out Thursday, so. But that also is just part of the Gold Room series, which is the on Patreon and iTunes, it's the paid subscription. So if you like a deeper dive than this, I feel like I just scratched the surface on most of these. You can check that out. But please check out any of the 250 episodes I have on this podcast. And what else? What else can I say? I don't know. Like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wannop for Decorating Pages.